Hello, Whiskers! Welcome to this latest installment of the Brothers Grimm series. Today, we're going to be doing a story called Our Lady's Child. Once again, if you are not up to date with what is going on here and you'd like a bit of an explanation, I'm going to link the playlist. If you watch the introduction, it'll show you what this is all about and some of the other stories as well. So, let's start with the retelling. Once upon a time, in a land far away, lived a woodcutter and his wife. And they had fallen upon hard times and could no longer care for their daughter of 3 years old. So while the woodcutter was out in the woods doing his thing, he was approached by the Virgin Mary. And the Virgin Mary asked him whether she could take his daughter away and care for her. The woodcutter said yes, and the child was taken up to heaven. And there she lived happily with all the angels until she was 14 years old. At this age, Mary gave her a test. The Virgin Mary asked her to keep her keys. Mary was to go away for 14 days, and the girl was in the possession of 13 keys. 12 of them, she said, she may use. She's allowed to open the doors. But the 13th key, no, this one she should avoid and promise never to open. And so the girl agrees. And then the time comes and she opens the first door and the second door, and the first 12 doors hold the 12 apostles, and she's very keen on meeting them and spends a day with each of them. But now there are 2 days left. At first the apostles warn our little girl to not open the 13th door, to not disobey the Virgin Mary. But 2 days is far too much for this little girl's curiosity, and she ends up opening the 13th door. And behind this door sits the Holy Trinity. And in awe of the sight, the little girl reaches out and touches it, and the tip of her finger goes completely golden. And scrub as she might, it's like this now. It can't be undone. And then, when the Virgin Mary returns, the little girl is nervous. And Mary asks her, "Did you open the 13th door?" And the girl says, No, I didn't. I promise I never opened the door. Mary, however, can see her finger is coated in gold. And she asks, "Are you sure you didn't open the door?" And the girl says, Nope, didn't touch it. I did not go close to the 13th door. And for a third time, Mary asks, "Did you open the 13th door?" And the girl shakes her head and says, "No, Mary, I did not open the door." And so, as punishment for disobeying her, but also for lying about it 3 times, Mary banishes the little girl to earth. She banishes her into the middle of It's strange. It's a desert, but it's also full of thorn bushes. So a thorn desert. And the girl lives here all alone. She sleeps in a tree every night, and every day she sits out in the sun. And she does this for years and years. And after all this time, her hair has fallen behind her like a cloak, and her clothes are all torn up, but she just sits in the sun every day and waits for her punishment to be over. Upon a day, a king comes by. Pursuing his prey into this thorny desert, he finds the girl sitting there in the sun with her hair like a cloak behind her, and he decides to take her home with him, as you do. But the girl finds that she is unable to speak. But that does not stop the king from falling in love with her. So, in a short while, the king and the girl are married. And she bears him a daughter. On the night of the girl's birth, the Virgin Mary comes to her again, and she asks, "Did you open the 13th door?" And the girl says, "No, I didn't." And Mary says, "Tell me the truth, or I will take your child from you." And the girl shakes her head and adamantly says, "I never opened the 13th door, Mary." And the Virgin Mary takes her little girl and goes away with her. And the people in the palace are in an uproar. A lot of people suspect that this strange girl that the king picked up in the middle of the thorn desert may be a man-eater. and they accuse her of eating her own child. And the king says, no, I love this woman too much, it's not possible. So she is okay for a while. And then she bears the king another daughter. And again, the Virgin Mary comes down from heaven and asks her, tell me the truth, or I will take your child from you. Did you open the 13th door? And the girl says, no, I didn't. And again, her child is taken from her. And again, the palace is in uproar, and the rumors go everywhere about how the queen devoured her second child. And the king says, no, I will not hear your counsel. My queen could never have done that. I love her far too much. So, the power of 3, she has another child, a son. And Mary comes down again and asks her, did you open the 13th door? And the girl again replies that she never touched that key. She never opened the door. And Mary again takes her son away from her. And this time, the king's defense is not enough. The people accuse her of cannibalism, and she is put to the stake. And just as they are taking the torches to set her on fire, she says to herself, obviously, still can't speak, she says to herself, if only I could repent my sins, if only I could tell the truth now. And all of a sudden, her tongue gets untied again, and she's able to scream, I did it, Mary, I opened the door. And so she says that, and the Virgin Mary comes down from the heavens, the flames are extinguished, and rain pours down, and all of a sudden, her 3 children, the 2 girls, quite grown, arrive on earth, and she says, thank you. Thank you for telling me the truth. And then the story ends with these words from the Virgin Mary herself. He who repents his sin and acknowledges it is forgiven. So that gives us a very clear morality. This was an interesting one. I was really frustrated by it, and I had not expected such a strong, religious slant to be taken in these stories at all. This is obviously very religious with the Virgin Mary and the whole Catholic thing, and power of 3 is a pretty common trope, but the whole repentance thing and everything, it's obviously very much in the Christian tradition. So it's obvious the truth will set you free. That is the old morality. And I don't know of a very popular modern retelling, but I do know of one that was told to us in school, to us Afrikaans kids. It's a story about a little farm girl. She also happens to be 14, and she also happens to be less than truthful. So she has to maintain the tractor on the farm. And every day she tests the tractor, and one day she tests it and she hears there's a strange sound coming from inside the engine, but she can't be bothered to fix it. So she just tests it, it runs fine, and the strange sound she ignores, and she goes off to play with her friends. And her father is watching her. So that night her father asks her, what happened? Did you maintain the tractor? And she says, yes, I did, father. And he says, okay. The next week, she goes out again, checks the tractor again, takes it for a ride, and again her father is watching. And again that night he asks her, did you test the tractor? And she says, yes, father, I did. And for a third week, she goes out, hears the strange sound, and then tests the tractor. And again she tells her father that she had tested the tractor, omitting again that she had heard a strange sound and didn't bother with it. So then the next week, when she goes to climb onto the tractor, her father stops her and he says, I know about that mistake you've been making, and it's now gotten to the point that if you were to start the tractor now, it will explode because it's something with the fuel tank. So it's almost the same story. It's very much, again, the power of 3, the lies, and the authority figure that knew about these lies and was kind of testing out the girl. So I think this story definitely is rooted in the same thing, in the same morality. Except with the farmer girl story, we got a very clear morality. Lying by omission is lying. That was the message it was supposed to teach us. And it was explicitly said at the end. This is what you have to learn. Lying by omission is still lying. And again, if you lie, you die in both of these stories. If the girl had not repented on the stake, she would have burned alive. And if the farm girl's father had not saved her, she also would have burned alive. The tractor would have exploded. So, if you lie, you die. That is the story here. So the changes here are pretty clear. In the old story, it was really frustrating because we didn't get to figure out why the girl was lying. Why would she allow... We couldn't figure out why the girl was lying. So the Virgin Mary told her before taking each child, I know you did this, I'm going to take your child away. And she just lies anyway? Why would you do that? Why not just tell the truth? You've already been punished. What can happen from here? And we don't know whether it's fear or obstinance or, I don't know, attitude that's stopping her from telling the truth here. With the farm girl, there's a little bit more of an explanation, but I did find it really frustrating to read because our protagonist literally does not have a voice and has no thoughts. So we have no idea why she does what she does, and that was really frustrating. Okay, Whisker, so I rambled for a bit. Let's just summarize. So there are two options for parenthood, and both these stories pretty much follow the first option, which is fear and ignorance and the iron fist. Test your child, make sure they always tell you the truth, spy on them, watch them, control their lives. And then they should come to you for everything because you haven't taught them to do anything for themselves. The reality is, with this, often the strictest parents make the best liars. Because the child, especially going into teenagehood, they're not secure in themselves. They make those stupid decisions anyway because they've never been taught differently. But they build a wall between them and you as a parent. They might come to you with some half-truths, with some minor crises, but you'll never be invited into their hearts because they need to hide certain parts of themselves from you since you deem it unacceptable. Everybody has their secrets, and I think that's sort of part of growing up, is to be allowed to have your secrets. If you're feeling watched all the time, you just learn to hide yourself better. The other style of parenting is teaching your children understanding as wisdom. So instead of just testing them to see, will they lie? If I ask them again and again the same damn question, you can teach them. Rather, the Virgin Mary could have taught the girl why lying would be wrong, or why viewing the Trinity would be wrong, or like, if you just tell the truth, I won't punish you. Or the father could have explained to his daughter, listen, just in case you hear like this weird chitty 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 sound, the car is going to explode, or the tractor, just watch out. So with that, there's not that sense of broken trust or broken boundaries, but there's understanding. And with that, the child learns the wisdom to make these decisions for themselves. And there's also the trust that they can come to you if they need it, because your door is open and you're not just peeking through the window the whole time watching them. They might not tell you everything, but they also likely won't lie to you because it won't be necessary. They'll share with you their joys and their sorrows, and they'll come to you when they're really in trouble because they know that you've trusted them so far, so they can trust you with this as well. I know the olden style especially said that respect and trust shouldn't go both ways. I think we probably know better now. So, both of these stories get a thumbs down from me. We need new stories. We need a new version of this. One where the Virgin Mary or the Father get to explain what's right and what's wrong, and where we foster teaching children wisdom, teaching children to think for themselves instead of to just obey. I guess children sort of are adults in training, and we don't need slaves, we need thinkers out there. Bye.
Hey, Whiskers! I just want to take this opportunity to thank you guys so much. Today, the 4th of August 2020, we hit 100 subscribers. My dream was to hit 100 subscribers before our 1 year anniversary, and we are more than a full month early. So, thank you so much for all the support. I really appreciate it, and I'll definitely be doing some special videos to celebrate. Ta ta!